Well, good morning, Saturday morning here. So this is day 3 on the foundations. It's quite slow work. We, just to keep you informed if you didn't see the other videos, is that we have to dig down to what we call a suitable founding strata, which is a good bearing soil. Now this area here, as a lot of places in the UK, are typically clay. So invariably what we find is a layer of topsoil, and in this case it's the darker material you can see here, and that's about 400-500 mil. And then once we sort of go through the topsoil, we start hitting the thicker clay type material. Now we also find that sometimes it's a bit soft, so we just go that extra little bit to find out what our basic good founding level is, and we're there now, so a little bit deeper than we anticipated. In the UK, we generally want to dig at least 900 mil into the ground. There needs to be a certain cover for frost damage. 900 depth is adequate. In this case, we've gone to about 1100, so it's not a real big deal. So what we have to do, guys, is we have to set out our levels on site, so we know, where we're working and what planes we're working to. So we set up what we call a temporary benchmark, and a temporary benchmark is basically something on site that is never going to move. So we can always go back to that point as a sort of datum, as a reference point. And what we're using, we have a manhole cover over here which is fixed, and we use that as our base level. So every time I set up a level, so this is what we call a dumpy level. There are more sophisticated instruments out there. For a site like this, this is perfectly adequate. So we have a dumpy level, and we look through that site at this staff here. So this is an extendable staff. I've got that placed in the foundation at the moment. So I've got a record as I've set up this morning. It could change every day because that setup isn't exact every time you set it up. It could be 10, 20, 30 mil higher because it's on legs, and wherever you put it, it always changes. So we set the dumpy level up. We then take a sight back to the manhole. That then gives me a base reading, and then from there on, wherever I then go for my levels, I know where I take one from the other. But for the purposes of this exercise for you, I'll set up the dumpy, which I've done. Now I've taken a sighting. That staff is in my foundation, so I'm currently reading a level of 2.9. So just to show you, these are in increments of 10 millimeters. So 2.7, 2.7, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So the reverse E as it is 50 mil, and then we've got spots. So when you're looking at long distances, if you can only see sort of this much through the level, if we see this, we know we're in the first 50 mil of a measurement, and if we're in these dots, we're in the second 50 millimeters, going towards a next full round 100 millimeters. So I've sighted through from that level, and I'm seeing that mark there. So I've got a crosshairs in my level, and I'm seeing 2 meters, 990 millimeters. So if I pick this staff up now and go to any point around the foundation and put the staff in the ground, I'm looking to read 2990. If I don't read 2990, my foundation cut, my dig is too deep or too high. So basically it strangely works like this. If I'm too shallow, then my level will come up, so my reading will be shorter, if that makes sense. So if my driver or there is only digging and he hasn't gone down far enough, and I'm seeing 2.6, he's not deep enough. He needs to go down. And if he's too deep, we could be seeing more than 3 meters. That means he's gone too deep. So my job here today, multitasking as what I do, it's important for me. I would have to, usually on a site, you'd employ a site engineer, or if you employed a good quality groundworking contractor, they will have this equipment for you. Now Adrian there's my main guy. He's driving the machine, and I'm helping him here do these levels. It's a little bit laborious because he has to dig, he has to load up, I check the levels. But here's the thing, it's Saturday morning, I could be doing other things, but it's a lovely day. and I'm keen and I'm interested in what's going on here, and I'm of the sort of character that I just want to make sure everything's right. So I could outsource it, I could leave it to somebody else, but you know what? I just enjoy doing this. And when you enjoy doing things, you know, isn't that great? Where you're involved in your own project, you're doing it yourself, you're hands-on, and it's great fun. So moving on from that, the trailer where we're having what we call muck away has just arrived. So that's our trailer up there. He's just arrived. Now he's an hour away on a return trip. So basically every hour he takes a load, and then within an hour he's back. So we do the digging, he then goes away, he comes back. So Adrian has just handed over to him. He's a great guy. So not only is he going to sit there, bring the trailer back and forth, he's actually jumped in the machine now, and he's actually going to now load his own lorry. These guys are very good, they're very capable, and we use guys that we know and trust. So I'll give you another video later on of how we're getting on. But the next move now, it's quite tight here. We're moving towards that corner. So just to show you, we've pulled this length here. We've pulled this foundation here. We've got a wall in the middle. We've got another wall in the middle. These are intermediate supporting walls. We've pulled the trench on the far side, and we can't get to that corner yet. And we've pulled that line, and we're stuck in the corner. So because it's so tight, what we've had to do now, we have to move that muck away, and we have to clear that level to enable us to pull the last bit of that foundation, and that corner. That should be done hopefully by lunchtime today, Saturday. And then we're out of here, and the next thing, the big thing then, is the concrete pour. We get the concrete in. Now my next job is to go into the trench, and I have to mark along the side wall of the trench a level. So I'll use my level. So my foundations here, we're going to aim for 450 millimeters deep of concrete. It's called trench fill. And the way we're doing that is because we have to either come up in concrete or come up in block work. So it's easier and cheaper to put more concrete in and less block work. But of course, we've got to keep the concrete at a certain depth, otherwise we expose ourselves to frost damage. So I'm going to go into the trench later on this afternoon, and I'm going to mark the side wall at a level. So I'm going to mark the side wall at a level where we know our concrete is going to come in at. So we're going to pump the concrete, and that's going to come up, and it's going to come up to a point where we hit the mark, and we know then that that concrete is perfectly level all around, ready for our masonry to come up. And then we can build our walls. We can then infill in between with our hardcore, below our slab, put our slab on, and then we can build out of the ground. So I hope you found that useful, everybody. I will keep you informed, and I'll make some more videos of these things. So have a nice afternoon and a great weekend. Bye-bye.